You find me trying to figure out why I lost about a litre of coolant overnight for no apparent reason the other day. Let me explain. So we went for a drive a week and a half ago, and then, in fact it's probably 2 weeks ago, and then I went to take my son to Scouts or something, and I got a warning on the dash saying coolant level low. So overnight I lost about a litre of water. When I got home the day before, there was no warning on the little computer saying anything about coolant levels. So it kind of came out of what looked like nowhere. So I figured must be a leak somewhere in the pipes. But I put a bit of water in because I wanted to try and see where it was. And also with being about to turbo the car, I wanted to make sure that I'm going to upgrade the coolant system anyway. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just do that first. But you still want to find out what the problem was, because what if it's a head gasket? What if it's and the heads need skimming rather than just me changing the head gaskets and giving it a clean when I put the turbo on. So I've just finished doing a compression test with the engine cold, because I needed to loosen the spark plugs anyway, in order that when the engine's hot and you do a compression test properly, I can take the spark plugs out of the aluminium block without it being problematic. So, did a compression test when it was cold. Okay. So I'm now just warming the car up, running it to keep another lookout for the coolant, try and get the gauge up to where it would normally be, before putting the radiator in. Now, it's not quite up to normal kind of operating temperature yet, so I might give it a little bit of revs just to encourage us on its way. Don't want to risk driving the car with a damaged, faulty, leaky, whatever, head gasket, radiator system, hose, whatever's causing this problem. So I figured, right, I will put my new Mishimoto performance radiator, electric fan, metal expansion tank, silicone hoses, racing thermostat, and I've also taken the opportunity to replace the thermostat housing, because that's plastic and a notorious weak point. So I've got a metal one, and I've got a metal bladed water pump rather than the plastic one. But I wanted to eliminate the head gasket first, because otherwise I'll go and do all that work and it'll be pointless, because what I really should be doing is finding a new engine, and then I could turbo it outside the car and swap it over. But either way, I don't want to be faffing about. So next episode will be fitting this slot back on the 36, but for this relatively short episode we're going to do a quick compression test. Well, I've given it a bit of a rev for a bit, just to annoy the neighbours. The water's now up to temperature where it sits. Let's go and have a look and see what's happened to the reservoir, if anything. No, the water level's about there. You can't, yeah, which is fine. It's not losing water anymore. Can't see any leaks or drips. Let's look down here. No. It's a curious one. Okay. Well, Maybe when I change the rad and things, it might show me. As you'll probably see from many videos, you need to remove fuse 18, which is the blue one there. I'm not sure about having to remove these because there's something to do with the fuel pump as well, but just for safety, I will. The blue one is a bit of a pig to get out because I haven't got the little tweezers that pull it out, but tease it with a screwdriver and it normally comes. Okay, you join me on cylinder 6, and I did the other 5 off camera because that is bearing down on me fairly soon, so I figured I would crack on and do it quickly rather than, unfortunately, talking to you guys. But I'm sure you didn't feel like you missed much because it's just the same procedure over and over and over again. So, oh, there's something I forgot to mention. Also remove that, which feeds the ignition coils. Not sure if you strictly have to. I'm not sure with no fuel going to the cylinders that it really matters if it doesn't spark, but I guess there might be a bit of residual fuel there, and you know, you might get a small shock or a large shock. I'm sure it's not a nice amount of energy going through to these. Yeah, it helps if you take, see this thing, I'm talking now and I'm not. Now that's an awkward one. I have to drop my big extension, put in a little extension and a wobble in order to get this one out because there's no room. All right. All right, there we go. It should be, yeah, there we go. That's all it needed. So that one can come out. Now what I've got to do is the only thing that works with my torque wrench that goes to this lower torque setting for putting the, because I only did these up just over hand tight when I put them back in. But now I want to torque them to spec. My bar that works with my torque wrench is fine, but the socket grips the so much that when you go to remove it from the block, you see the whole thing comes out and stays in the block rather than removing the spark. So to get over that, I'm putting some PTFE lube actually in my socket just to lube up the rubber inside basically so that the spark will come out again. Then put it somewhere safe. There we go, it's not going to get damaged. Oh, I'm so looking forward to, hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, having a garage. So you go in, and it's a bit awkward because I can't see if I'm lining up anymore. And of course the rubber hose is not perfectly straight because it comes in a nice box that keeps it all compact. But no, that is threading in, I can feel it. And then just try and turn it to make as best a seal as possible. Make sure I've hit the reset button, prop it up against there so that I can see from in here. You can just about see on the bonnet. Foot flat to the floor on the accelerator, and then I'll let it go for about 6 beats. Let's see what we got. 175, that's been the best. So, cylinder 6, 175. So we've got basically between 160 and 175, which is within 10%, and I think all pretty good. And when it was cold, it was between 165, and that 185 is definitely an anomaly. I think it would be the same as cylinder 2, so 165. So 165 up to 175 cold. Strange I'm getting better compression cold, but maybe not. I guess different metals expanding at different rates. Someone hit me up in the comments and let me know. So the good news is that with compression like that, I'm not overly concerned about it being a head gasket issue. Yeah, that way around. I can't remember what that one's meant to do, but I saw a video where someone said remove it, so I removed it. I would have thought just taking the fuel pump and the spark plug ones out would have been sufficient, but hey, someone more knowledgeable than me will no doubt know. I'm interested, so if you do know, hit me up. Alright, we've got to try and get this bad boy back in now. Now luckily, this extender is shorter than the one that I needed to faff about with, but it is longer than the kind of Frankenstein wobbler assembly. Now can I, oh look at that, it's perfect, made for it, this one. So just get it in by hand. You don't want to go in with anything major. You do not want to thread your spark plugs. And I'm just going to give it a little, yep, that's coming out, I can feel it. So that's going in there, and the torque settings for it are 17 foot-pounds or 20, yeah, 17 foot-pounds or pound-foot, whatever, and it's 20 something Newton meters, I think. There we go. And it all came out in one piece. Beautiful. Right. You go back on. Now, when I redo this, I think I'm going to spray it with all kinds of electrode connecting fluids. And I know I've actually got some, I just couldn't find it. Otherwise I would have done it now. But like I said, racing the weather. Did not make it an easy situation to be digging around the back of my van looking for the specialist electric WD-40 stuff. Now I'm sure there is a torque system for these, and it will be in my Haynes manual, but the reality is it's good and tight will do, because it's just holding down these. As long as there's no play with them, you are gonna be absolutely fine. So I would say personally, well, also chance of getting a torque wrench small enough in that gap to do that up. I mean, I'm guessing someone probably does make one, but I don't know if I've ever seen it. I'd say as tight as you can do with this without being silly is probably as tight as you need it to be. There we go. All right, let's move these out of the way. Now, because I definitely didn't find any obvious causes for my, hey, let's put that back in, for my, is that all back together? Yeah, let's just check it sounds good before I put the covers on. Oh, taking the key out. Starts right up, sounds great. So because I haven't found any kind of reasons now, well, I think I've eliminated the main one. It's unlikely to be a head gasket with those sorts of numbers. There we go, all back together again. That is all back on. And I'm just gonna move our little Mr. Bean car out the way and go for a little test drive to see if I can bottom out the problems that might be have caused the reservoir to just lose a chunk of a chunk of water the other day. But yeah, official figures on the hot side now. 160 is the lowest on cylinder 2, 175 the highest on cylinder 6, all within 10% just. And I might have just needed to crank that one more time and it would have been 165, you know. It's also a cheap compression testing kit, probably from Amazon or eBay, so you know, I'm going to take it with a pinch of salt. Oh, I've missed driving old Rosa. I'm gonna have to rely on that picture because I don't think I can put this maybe like that. Let's see. I might just be filming nothing of interest. That might work. All right. Let's see. No water on the drive. Oh, it needs to just brake a little bit because I'm guessing the discs are probably a little bit rusty, having not been driven for a couple of weeks. Oh, I do love this car. Just the way it drives. Now you can hear quite a few stone chips, but you might not. I can. Two reasons. One, the roads are rubbish around here at the moment. They are potholed galore, and they have just repaired a bunch of them by basically filling them up with grit. And the reason why this car's picking up is because the new sticky tyres that I put on here pick up stones because the rubber is that sticky. They're good, really good. And the engine's up to temperature because it's been running for a bit. Got to be a little bit careful because I've got boxes and things behind me. I'm just keeping an eye on the coolant needle. I do love the way it pulls. The needle's creeping up a bit. Got to drive in the middle of the road to avoid potholes. But it's just because I floored it for a second, it wavered slightly up and it's come straight back down again. Second gear pull-ups, 50 miles an hour. Nothing. So I'm going to try my best to get some work done on Monday to the point where all my customers will be happy. And I don't get many deliveries on a Tuesday at work, so it might not rain on Tuesday. So if it doesn't rain and I get my work done, I am going to service this car, i.e. an oil change service, not a full thing, because I've got new air filters and stuff with the turbo kit, that can wait, but I'm going to put new oil in it, even if it's only for a couple of months, and put the new radiator on. So far so good. Love you, bye. And there we go. Back from my little jaunt. Little 0-60 amp. Still got fluid in there. Well, there was that from when I peeled out of here. But I've probably just caught water from the fact it's been raining the last few days. I don't know. Anyway, love you, bye. See you in the next one. Like and subscribe and all that shit.